What is the most strange wrong number call you've ever received? Dude called from prison. After I told him wrong number, he said he had nobody to talk to and he had just dialed a random number. I was young and naive, but the dude never asked for anything. We talked for a while, him telling me how he got to be in jail. Straight up street thug, but he was trying to make good and get back to society in good shape. Never talked again. I hope he made it out okay. I bet it's a really lonely place if you never intended to be a bad guy. I mean, there's a difference between people who made a stupid mistake and people who just have no regard for the general public, and I feel kind of sorry for some of them. I know a few prison guards, and they all seem to feel sorry for a lot of the inmates. When I picked up, someone immediately went off in a frantic worry about his dog who ran away, now gone for a week. When he continued how he had looked everywhere, I stopped him to mention he had the wrong number. But out of kindness we talked a little bit. Losing a pet is horrible, I know that, and I got to know the part of town where the dog went missing, many miles away, and he mentioned some details about his dog. Well, I'll be damned when I go to the market later that day and I see a dog begging that meets the description. Now, in my mind, this is utterly impossible. Period. Nevertheless, I look up the recent call in my phone history and FaceTime the guy. It's his dog. I used to get calls for Phoebe right after I got my new number. A lot of calls. I was always nice and let them know they had the wrong number. This went on for 2 years. Near the end, I got a call from an unknown number. It was Phoebe. She said she wanted to apologize, thanks me for being kind, and she thinks she told everyone the new number. But if anyone calls, could I give it to them? I said sure, no problem. Still occasionally got calls. I politely informed them of the new number. One guy was surprised and started texting me about the whole situation. We became friends only over text and still text occasionally to this day. Not a call, but I thought it'd be worth sharing. I got a text from a wrong number once about 10 years ago that said, "Hey girl, you still dance? Need to make some money quick." This is funny enough by itself, but particularly amusing because I am a man, and fucking hilarious because I also happen to be a paraplegic. I work at an old folks' home, and was in the elevator one day and the emergency phone started ringing. I pushed the button to answer, and it was some guy looking for a chiropractor's office. He was super confused when I told him he called an elevator in an assisted living community. I was confused. BC, who knew you could call an elevator from an outside line? This reminds me of a story I heard once about someone who works for a call center and accidentally placed a call directly to a secure number at the Pentagon. Back in the olden days, a coworker of mine got sick while visiting his parents for the weekend. This was when long-distance calls cost money. So his mother offered to call his boss on Monday morning using her office phone. A man answered and she told him that Billy wouldn't be able to come into work today. The man sounded rather surprised, but politely said that he'd transfer her to his secretary. The secretary enlightened Mom. She'd called the private number of the governor of the state, and he had personally answered. A lady called me one day and said, "Hello, it's your mother," the same way my mom always says it. So we chat for 10 minutes and for once she seems to be really listening to me, acknowledging what I'm saying, very sympathetic and concerned in her short replies. So I start to spill my guts about how it's been so hard for me lately, and I'm really just keeping it together for the kids, but all I really want to do is run away or die trying. The concern pours out of her, telling me I should go see a therapist she knows and how I have been stronger than this in the past, and she is spot on about everything. Then she says, "Have you told Terry?" "Terry who?" I replied. "Her. Your wife Terry, my daughter." "Me. I'm not married to Terry. I'm talking about Tara." "Her. Is this Bob?" "Me. No, this is Ben." "Her. Oh honey, I'm so sorry. I have the wrong number. But you hang in there and it will all work out. Goodbye." And she hung up. Would really like my mom to actually listen like that woman did one day. Not exactly what you asked, but I made a wrong number call that has stayed with me. My elderly mom passed away and the nursing home rang me in the early hours of the morning, about 3 a.m., to let me know. It wasn't unexpected, but is still a shock when it happens. So, I tried to ring my brother to let him know, and I must have dialed the wrong number. A young man answered and I'd obviously woken him from a deep sleep. I realized immediately that he wasn't my brother, and apologized. He asked who I was after and I said, "I was trying to ring my brother as our mom has just passed away." He said, Oh, I'm sorry for your loss. I know that probably doesn't seem like a big deal, but I just thought what a nice young man he must be, to remember his manners and offer sympathy even when woken from a deep sleep by a random wrong number. It has stayed with me. I was working at a major scientific journal as a coordinator arranging for peer reviewers on academic papers. One day my office phone rings and on the other end is a dude with a very thick South American accent. He said, "Hello, is this the scientists? This is name of science journal. Oh good. I have very large jungle beast. You must tell me what it is." "I'm sorry, what?" "I find large beast in jungle." "What is it?" "Well, first of all, that's not at all what we do here. Second of all, even if it was, how would I be able to identify it over the phone? I don't know, you are scientists, that is your job. Look, if you're looking to identify an animal, maybe call your local Department of Fish and Wildlife." "Okay, what is their number?" "I have no idea, I could try to look it up." "Where are you located?" "Okay, bye." And he hangs up. I guess it wasn't technically a wrong number, because he clearly saw the word science in the title and assumed we were the right people to call. But how and why he called my number in particular or expected me to have any clue what he was talking about, I have absolutely no idea. I once got called because a drug dealer had been shot by police, and they were calling the numbers on his phone to help identify him. I asked them who died, but they said they got the number wrong when they called me, so they apologized and hung up. I noticed I missed a call from an unknown number, and the area code was for a town out of state that my daughter happened to be attending an EDM music festival at. Of course, the mom in me panicked and called it back, but I got the answering message. I left a message saying what my first name was and that I had a daughter currently in that town, and if the call was from or about her, I could be reached at NNN. Please call me back, etc. About an hour later, I got a call back from a sweet older lady with a thick southern accent telling me, "Sugar, I couldn't let you worry, sweetie. I dialed the wrong number and I noticed right away and hung up, but you must seen it, and here I made you worry for nuttin'. Your girls are right, my grandson is a paramedic and he says ain't no one died up there yet, and only 2 boys got dehydrated so far and passed out. She's having fun, I bet." We talked for a half hour. I once got an international American phone call, and as I neither recognized the number nor could I quickly pull up an ID on it, I picked it up, and this guy instantly started blathering on in Russian with a thick Russian accent and with a speed that I assumed that only a native speaker could talk at. After a few moments I managed to get his attention and go, "Oh, who this?" And there's this awkward silence, and then suddenly the speaker switches to this American, Texanish accent with impeccable English and profusely apologized before hanging up. This was a while ago, and I've switched phones and since lost the call history, but now and again I wonder just what did I intercept. Block number thought it was my brother the cop, so I picked it up. Nope, it was a little girl who insisted I was her daddy. It was a little creepy. I didn't have a daughter at the time except the one cooking inside my wife. She had this crazy little laugh that went with, "Oh yes, you do have a daughter, muhahaha." That's when it went to crazy creepy, so I hung up on her demon laugh. Some weird guy handling affairs at some California courthouse screaming at me saying I was supposed to show up. The man left like 12 voicemails once and I had no clue, each one escalating in anger. Really weird guy. Needs to chill out at his job. I got one of those calls on the voicemail at my job once, the court or the lawyer calling saying the person was going to get arrested if they didn't show up. I felt like being a decent person, so I called them back and was like, don't arrest them, they clearly didn't get this message." A few months ago, I got a call from a convenience store in town, and they asked for me by last name, super uncommon last name, so I know it was me. Right after I said it was me, they hung up. I called them back, and they said they must have called the wrong number. They literally asked for me by name. After overanalyzing it for hours, I thought it was some sort of scam. It has been a few months though, and no sign of anything weird on any accounts or anything as of yet. When I went to school in Chico, California, I lived in a dorm with a payphone in the common room. One night 4 or 5 of us are sitting around watching TV and one guy, call him Marvin, is expecting a call from his brother, call him Floyd, in school in Nevada. The phone rang and Marvin answers. "Hey Floyd, how you doing?" "ANS. I'm great, let me talk to Marvin." "Ha, this is Marvin. Now let me talk to Floyd." "Dude, I am Floyd, put my brother Marvin on now, okay?" "Wait, is this Floyd in Nevada?" Nah man, this is Floyd in Utah. Eventually they worked out that the two Floyds were trying to call their two brothers Marvin on the same night. They worked out that the phone number Floyd had called was one digit off. And all four were in college. There was much amazement and a little hilarity when Marvin finally hung up and told us what had happened. I didn't answer, but I listened to a voicemail from a number I didn't recognize. It was a guy claiming he knew where I lived and he thinks I'm very beautiful and would love to take me out sometime. He ended the message with, "If you don't respond, I'll kill your dog." I was kind of freaked out, so I texted, "Sorry, you have the wrong number." I knew because I didn't have a dog. He responded with an apology and said it was just a joke he was playing on his GF at the time. I really hope they just like to play creepy jokes on each other. Do you have a similar story? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.